Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We've got Chris Stoll with us. So just a reminder, we're going to use the raise your hand feature. So pop up your hand and we'll get to questions. We can go ahead and start with new bias Wilborn.
Hey, thanks for getting that right, Chelsea. And Christopher, good afternoon to you, brother. Over this last couple of days, what have you guys learned from the misses in the field goal game, and how do you guys plan on kind of correcting that going forward?
Just kind of doing our process every day. I don't think we've changed much from our preparation for Indiana to this week. Really just getting more reps here and there, working on watching more film, really just keep doing our thing. I have full confidence in Jake and Jordan, both coming up this week and the rest of the season.
Matthew Rudisil.
Yep. Thanks for your time today, Chris. So in that respect, what are a few positives that you guys took from the game last Saturday that you guys will build from this coming week into the Ohio State game?
I think we definitely played hard and aggressive the entire game. Lamont had a few good turnovers that really kind of sparked our team when we needed it most. And really, those first two drives, not only offensively but defensively, really was a sign of what we can do. And I think we can build off those first two drives offensively and defensively.
Elton Hayes.
Hey, Chris, thanks for your time this afternoon. Hey, you all in all of 2019 had, I believe, 14 turnovers in 13 games. This game, you all had 3 of them. Was wondering, do you kind of attribute that to just the unconventional spring without a practice, all combined with bringing in a new coordinator in Kurt Shiraka, or just, what are your thoughts on those turnovers? And if you kind of had to peg that to something, what would you attribute that to?
I don't honestly think that, obviously not having spring ball hurts really the young guys and not getting those extra reps. But as for us older guys, I don't think anything's really changed. Our preparation, I know quarterbacks and running backs, everyone does ball security drills every day in practice. I just think, the ball is kind of our program. That's what Coach Rock always says. And just really that focus on the ball is just going to continue to happen. Everyone messes up once in a while, every time. Once in a while, Jake will miss a field goal. Once in a while, you will be lacking on ball security. But I think, especially after last week, people are going to, hold tight to that program, if you know what I mean. I don't think it'll be an issue going forward.
Tyler Donahue.
Hey, Chris, thanks for your time. We just got word that the Wisconsin-Nebraska game this weekend is off the schedule because of COVID cases for Wisconsin. The 1-0 mentality is so important to you guys, but is it difficult to ignore when you have a false positive test keeping someone out of the game this past Saturday for you guys, and you see other teams not playing at all this weekend? Does it feel like that's kind of the monster in the closet with this season?
It can be, but we try not to think of it that way. We really think of it as next man up mentality. Guys prepare each and every week, not only starters, but backups, third stringers, fourth stringers, especially during this, COVID year. So obviously, we're all on our phones all day. We see the notifications come up, but really we just keep focusing on ourselves, focusing on that 1-0 mentality, like you just said, and really that next man up mentality as well.
Andrew Porterfield.
Hey, Chris, thanks for doing this. I don't think we've had a chance to talk to you since you earned a full scholarship. What was that moment for you when you heard from Dan Trusena and your teammates that you were on scholarship?
Yeah, it was complete shock, complete excitement. I always said I wouldn't cry if it ever happened, but the emotions kind of took over that point. Super blessed, super thankful for Coach Franklin for giving me that. And really that first call that I made to my parents back home was just amazing that I could tell them that, and because they've helped me, so many ways throughout my first 4 years here. And it was awesome to be able to tell them that and see the emotion on their faces, and then be able to go right to practice and kind of focus on the next week.
Audrey Snyder.
Good afternoon, Chris. Thanks for your time. I wanted to ask you about when you guys get tested Saturday morning. Like, what's that process like when you're on the road? You're at the team hotel. I know Jahan said you guys are getting tested like every morning, but what's that like on a game day? Is it stressful? And then how quickly do you guys get those results?
So yeah, obviously with what Jahan said, we get tested every day. We actually started self-testing, so we have to swab our own noses with obviously the nurse watching and everything. Usually we get them back within 20 to 30 minutes during the week. That doesn't change on game day. Excuse me. Really like up, not as early as we normally are during the week, but we're up early, get tested the same exact way. Try not to think about it. I mean, it's just really much, we can only control how we react to the situation. We can't control the results. We can't control if we get sent home or not, or if we get to play. So really just kind of going in with that mentality. Just it is what it is. Whatever happens, happens. It's just how we respond to it and our attitude to it.
Frank Bodani.
Hey, Chris, what do you think is the best part of your story going from Ohio, growing up near Ohio Stadium to where you're at now when you look back?
I've never gotten that question. I would say just kind of seeing my journey of where I was coming in as a freshman to where I am now. Kind of my first freshman year, I enjoyed the late night pizza, creamery type lifestyle and got a little overweight. And, you know, I wasn't playing, didn't expect to play, but it was still kind of new to me, especially coming from high school. And the journey that I took, you know, personally, growing and maturing throughout the last 4 years, maturing my body so that I can actually, you know, go down the field and make some tackles. And then also my snapping journey, you know, becoming more consistent, snapping faster, learning how to block, learning coverages more, how to actually get down the field and have relative spacing, like Coach Lohr said, instead of just sprinting down like a headless chicken. I would say that was probably the highlight of my entire journey from, you know, Western Ohio to here.
Tyler Donahue.
We had Jordan Stout on I think last week, and we was talking about his range and his ability to hit from. He told us anywhere to 70. He said he's still working on 70 beyond. I know there was some wind involved on Saturday, but was there any doubt in your mind that he was capable of connecting on that 57-yard field goal? And can you vouch for him in terms of distance? Because it's one thing to hear him say it. Can you confirm any of that from what you've seen on the practice field? Yes,
I can confirm that. I had no doubt. I was completely confident when Jordan went out to hit that 57. I think it was 57. Jordan, you know, puts in the work every day at practice, taking care of his body so that he can, you know, hit bombs like he does. 70 yards, we have seen him hit it in practice. There might have been a little bit of wind at his back when he did that, but obviously wind's a factor. Contact is a factor. On Saturday, I mean, he hit a great ball. If it was 1 foot further, it was in. If it was more of a trajectory to the left, so that, you know, his ball naturally tails a little right to left, I mean, that was in. So it was a great ball. I have full confidence in him next week and all the weeks after. So.
Elton Hayes.
Hey, Chris, first of all, congratulations on your accomplishment also, by the way. Being an Ohio native, this is your first game against Ohio State as a scholarship player for Penn State. Is this Saturday going to be any more special for you, knowing that you're going to be doing it as such?
No, Ohio State, you know, of course, always has a place in my heart. I was a fan for first 17 years of my life, but the game last year, I was a walk-on, and the game this year, I was a scholarship. To me, you know, I don't see any difference. I still put in the same amount of time working, going through my process, and still it's that 1-0 mentality, trying to go 1-0 every week, focusing on only this game and not next week or 3 weeks from now. And I think that's the type of mentality that I'm going to keep throughout this week.
Mark Brennan.
Hey, Chris, thank you for doing this today.
Of course.
Hey, what did it mean to you and your family financially to get that scholarship? And were you paying out-of-state tuition? Because that's pretty steep from what I understand.
Yeah, that was kind of the main that was one of the reasons I worked so hard to get where I am today. My family has been blessed enough to be able to put me through college and my sister through college, and knowing that I can kind of give that money back a little bit and start help paying for things that I wasn't able to pay for before and take that financial burden off of them. That was definitely one of the main reasons I was just so overcome with emotion when I was surprised with that scholarship. It's super important to me that I'm able to pay them back a little bit and kind of show them the work paid off and all of their hard work paid off for me as well.
Frank Bodani?
Hey, Chris, two things real quick here. One, what's the toughest part of your job you think people may not have any clue about or realize? And then secondly, why was it so important to lose like 30 some pounds as a long snapper?
So I would say the most important part is doing my job normally in front of 110,000. Sometimes when I'm warming up at practice and everything, linebackers, and Sean's even done it a few times since he was a snapper in high school, they'll just come up and they'll snap a ball and be like, oh, this is easy, I can do this. But then, if you're going to go do it in front of 100,000 at a stadium, or now however many million on TV since there's no fans, it's just having that mental strength to just do it over and over again. It's all about consistency for me, and doing that under pressure is definitely one of the hardest things. Not everyone knows how to do, really. As for losing the weight, really I just wanted to be able to cover better and not look. I mean, I'm a good athlete, but with the athletes that I'm around here, I'm on the bottom of the totem pole. So really, I wanted to be able to go down the field, be able to make plays, be a little faster in coverage, and not look too silly out there, if you know what I mean.
Matthew Rudiso?
So we talked a lot about journeys today. Could you talk about your journey as a long snapper and how you found that position? It's kind of a niche skill, so could you talk about that?
Yeah, really kind of in high school, I was actually a holder for my freshman team. I played quarterback and I was a holder. And then sophomore year, our senior long snapper just kind of had a little brain funk and just couldn't do it for some reason. So they were looking for volunteers, and I was like, I'll try it. Really, at first, first few days of practice, I was just throwing it one hand because I was figuring as a quarterback, if I just throw it over here, I'll just throw it underneath my legs, and really just kind of took off from there. My freshman season, I did have a couple bad snaps, but really I kind of saw some potential there. Went to a couple camps, really realized that, hey, maybe I can do this in college. The guys that I'm competing against, they've been snapping for 3-4 years, and I've only been snapping for 6 months, and I'm right there. So went to find a coach near me. He coaches at Pickerington Central High School in Ohio. He really helped me kind of define my form, get me to where I was able to compete at the highest levels of snapping. Ended up going to the Penn State camp, getting an offer there, and then really, as I kind of matured, got stronger, got a little taller, just really working with my coach and working with the coaches here, like the strength staff, I just really started to mature and take snapping so seriously because I consider this my job. So I wanted to do the best that I could, and I just continued to get better as the years go on.
Thanks.
Andrew Porterfield?
You touched on working hard for your goals. Who have been some of your biggest mentors to reach those goals, both on and off the field for you over the course of your high school and then college career?
Definitely my dad. Really kind of, I was actually a big hockey guy. I skated since I was 3. Really wanted to do that. And he was the one who would always, take me to travel tournaments, take me to practice. And really what he always preached was, it doesn't matter how good you are, but if you work hard and you put in 100% effort, he always said, playing like your butt's on fire, things will go well for you, and you'll get noticed and you'll be respected. So really, he's my main role model. I can't speak. Role model. Sorry, I get a little emotional with it. He has just brought me up so well. I have so much respect for him, so much love for him. And he's really one of the main reasons I am who I am today.
Tyler Donahue.
Chris, beyond the football field, what has this what does this enable you to do academically? Where are you at in the process of pursuing a degree? Does this give you an opportunity to maybe extend the degree beyond where you thought you could take it? And what is your primary, field?
So I'm a kinesiology major. I will be graduating in the spring. Really kind of my goal was to go to chiropractic school after I'm done with my undergrad. But now that I'm blessed with this scholarship, really, obviously Penn State doesn't have a chiropractic program. So I really have been kind of thinking about that a lot. Like, do I go into a master's program of either health policy and administration or business or something that, is broad and I can use for the rest of my life? Or do I re-enroll in undergrad and just start learning something new that I'm just super interested in? Really just kind of talking with Todd Kolka, our academic advisor, and just trying to get some ideas and steps of where to go after graduating in the spring.
New Bias Wilborn.
You mentioned earlier about the recovery from workouts, and then you're talking about your studies of the body. So, like, what does that recovery look like for you after a practice or after that? Like, how do you do it? How do you walk through it?
So really, as a specialist, we don't, have the full, brunt of a practice that, my roommate Mike Miranda would have as an offensive lineman. Really, my goal is to stay as flexible and as strong in a way that I can keep that flexibility, if that makes sense. So I'm really stretching all the time, working on my hip mobility, working on my upper body flexibility so I can get through on the snap, and then working on maintaining my strength and still having that flexibility. So I can't like bulk up like a linebacker or a lineman. I got to be able to have, strength that molds to my position. So really kind of doing workouts during practice, I'll get a arm pump here or there, or really focus on stretching during practice when I'm not snapping and working with Jordan and Jake. And then obviously always got to hit the ice tubs, always got to do some regen, really just to keep my body healthy. Is obviously this isn't as long as the normal season is, but 8 games, 9 games, still fairly long. So really just kind of working on maintaining my body and using the degree that I will have to keep that going.
Okay, we have time for one more for Chris, so we'll go with Matthew Rudisil.
Awesome, thanks. So this is more of a general question here. So like obviously long snapper, specialist position, different than a regular center, but even going more into the differences, how do your mechanics differ when you're snapping to a punter rather than like a field goal kicker?
Mechanics for me, so I'm called for punt snaps, I'm called a no-look snapper. So instead of like keeping my head down like I do in PAT and field goal, I keep my head up, and I feel like as soon as I hear the cadence or know the snap count, then I can fully snap into it. But for field goals and stuff, you obviously don't want to snap it 1,000 miles an hour back to Jordan. And so you want to keep it more, obviously you don't want to snap it slow either. So you got to find that happy medium. I do look on field goals so I can see the tap or the cadence or whatever it is. And really it's just more of a confidence thing. I've repped it so many times in practice, both punt and field goal, that I know what I'm doing. I know it's all of a feel to me with my snap. I feel it when I release just off the edges of my index fingers, and really there's not much difference there.
Awesome. Thanks for your time.
Of course.
All right, thanks for your time, Chris. We appreciate it, and thanks everyone